Hello everyone, welcome to That Geek Show, where we put you face to face with the experts so that you can learn from their experience, improve your business, your life, your attitude, everything about you by getting direct access to the brightest minds on the planet. And today we are talking with the CEO of Minerva Enterprises, Cindy Ashton. Hey, Sydney.
Hello, Ifat. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, and this is not what you want to see. There we go. So Cindy is a little sick today, so I really appreciate you taking the time and actually joining. Yeah.
I've just been kind of warning people that I normally burst into song in the middle of doing stuff, but it might be bursting into coughing at some point. Not as fun, not as attractive, but we're going to have a great time anyways.
Exactly, and tons of value. So guys, if you want to speak with Cindy today, this is the place to be. thatgeek.com/live. Hop on there and you'll be able to actually jump into the conversation and ask Cindy anything you want. You guys have already put some comments in underneath this video on the page, and we're gonna answer all of them right after we deliver all the value that we promised you before you sign up for the show. So before we dive into the specifics of how to and what to do and how to grow and all that stuff, let me tell you who is the person you're going to be talking with today. So Cindy is the CEO of Minerva Enterprises, which is a booking agency for speakers. She is also an award-winning TV host, singer, entertainer, and presentation strategist. She received awards from the former President Obama and Queen Elizabeth II, and I want to hear all about that, for her lifetime of volunteerism. And she has appeared in multiple media, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Inc. magazine, and Forbes. But aside of all that stuff, she's a fantastic person to talk to. She really cares about her clients, her audience, and people. And who's better to help you guys really hone in on your message and figure out like all the knocks and all the behind the scenes of what you need to do in order to get your speaking gigs, in order to get booked, in order to get paid. So one of the first things that I want to learn from you, Cindy, is like you started like at age 3, dancing and singing and presenting. How did that turn into a career?
Technically, I was a fetus because I'm pretty sure I was swimming in my mom's belly and like sporting jazz hands. And because people were like, well, how did you know you're going to be a performer? And I'm like, I've always known. So sorry, what was your question?
Yeah, so how do you're dancing in your living room, you're dancing in your mom's tummy, and you're like, you know what? This stage is not big enough for me. How do I get out there? And what got you like to TV and Obama? How did that happen?
Okay, so TV, I'll get to that in a second. The awards from the President and the Queen, it's kind of mind-blowing to me because I don't really get it. So that had nothing to do with my performing or my speaking career. That had to do with, I've had this thing about fighting for the underdog. I mean, I would be saving birds and animals, and by the time I was 11, I was so pissed off about the rainforest. So I gathered all my friends and we raised so much money that we bought a whole bunch of rainforest and the Amazon. And since then, I have done such an insane amount of charity work and have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charities, and have been a spokeswoman up in Canada for the Canadian Center for Abuse Awareness, and have done like literally hundreds of charities in terms of actually volunteering, giving my time, raising money. And so I just did that because things pissed me off. So instead of staying pissed off, I actually would do something about it. And all of a sudden people are giving me these, like the Queen was amazing. I got like a medal, like I got a whole medal from the Queen. And I was like, what? I mean, that's cool, but I didn't do it for the recognition. So that's that answer.
You know what's cool about that is that I keep hearing a lot of people saying, and I hear myself twice, so maybe it's audio. So
I can plug in ears.
Let's try.
Okay, keep talking. I'm listening while I get my ears.
There you go. So a lot of people are getting rewarded for things that they do because they are passionate about it, and not because they set up to get an award and because they're going like, okay, how am I going to get in front of the Queen? Instead, they go and do things that they're like completely passionate about, love, or their heart and soul is in it, and then someone notices and recognizes it. So my question to you is, like, there are a lot of people who are doing good in the world, but are not being seen, are not being recognized. Is that because they are not in the limelight, or they keep quiet about it, or?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And are you talking specifically about bookings in that sense, or just so I know where to direct this, or is this a general conversation?
General about volunteerism, and doing good in the world and actually helping your community.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think in my case, because it's born in my DNA, it just happens. But I really don't know how to answer that question. I think that some people get noticed and some people don't, and it's not always fair. But it's really hard for me to say in terms of volunteerism, because that's not something that I strategize for people on.
That's true. So let's talk about speaking engagement. So
let's talk about
lot of people. Yeah, let's talk about that. That's the best thing.
Yes.
So a lot of people, up and coming speakers, and I've heard this a lot from people who are just starting to speak. They're going like, you know what? I'm fantastic, but the market is saturated with mediocre speakers who just know how to market themselves, and I cannot get booked. So how can we help these people?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So there's a few questions within that. The first is if they're saying that I'm starting out and I'm fantastic, it's like any profession, we always have room to grow. So I would invite anybody, whether they're a beginning speaker or even somebody like me that's been in the industry for like over 20 years, there is always room to grow to the next level. But especially if you're starting out, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So especially if you're starting out, go in with a beginner's mind. We always want to have a beginner's mind no matter where we're at in our career, but treat it like a profession. And I say this because I feel like the industry has been told a lot of lies, and this might be a whole rabbit hole we go through before we get to the answers. But can we talk first, Ifat, about the lies that have been told about the speaking industry? Because I think that's an important conversation.
Yes, because, I think this is a place where you and I really, really connect on, where the lies, the myth, the behind the scene, the smoke and mirrors, it's kind of like, let's solve that.
Yeah. So, 20 years ago when I started in the industry, it was mostly just high paid speakers. It wasn't terribly oversaturated. You either got paid a nice big sum or you didn't. I mean, it just wasn't the way it is today. Now it's very oversaturated. Mm-hmm. And so when the 2008 crash came into play, what happened with the economy is that suddenly these companies are like, why am I spending $10, $15, $20, $30,000 on a speaker? We've got to cut those budgets down. So a lot of professional speakers' careers, including mine, went right down. Exactly. But on top of that, because of what was happening with the economy, people were trying to figure out new ways and better ways to make more money and to stimulate and get noticed, their businesses.
Yeah.
So a few things happened is that, first of all, there is a lot of people going out there saying, hey, if you've got a business, you should be speaking.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you get paid or not. So suddenly these corporations are going, well, I'm going to take the free person because we don't have a budget anymore. So, so that was part of what was happening. But that's part of where the saturation is that everybody now is being told to write a book. Everybody is being told to do an online program. Everybody is being told to go and speak. And that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that I've heard so many people come to me, throughout the years, and especially with the booking agency, will say, I've written a book. I'm now an expert. I was told by this book coach I should write a book, and I will get plenty of speaking engagements.
Yes.
So let's debunk myth number one. If you write a book, I'm going to get booked to speak and get paid. No. Do you want to guess why?
An Amazon bestseller is not really an Amazon bestseller.
That's part of it, but that's not the main reason why. Okay? Because if part of it is that the reason why is because, first of all, people are self-publishing their books, and that's great, and I love it, and people are getting their stuff out there. What my concern is that there's a lot of these book publishers who are helping them, but do they actually understand expertise, deeper content? Do they understand how to shape content? Do they understand? So I find a lot of these books are saying very similar things to a very generic audience without a targeted audience, without a strong point of view that is not the same. So I get a lot of people throughout the years who give me the same stuff around, well, your thoughts create your reality. And I'm like, great. And they're like, well, your thoughts create reality. And I'm like, but it's already being said. Ernest Holmes said it 100 years ago in his book. Like, I can go through all these people who have already said this. What's your point of view that's stronger, and why is somebody going to pay you for it? So people have these books and they put the cart before the horse, where they spend $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to produce a book without having the platform. And if you don't have a platform, you can't get booked for the paid stuff. You need a platform.
I love that you say that because two things. One is also, like, just because you wrote a book doesn't mean you're a great speaker, right?
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, that's another reason, is that it may not make you a great speaker, but you have to have a strong platform to get booked, and most people don't know what a platform is.
So let's talk about that. What is a platform? And yes,
okay,
sip your tea.
Yes, no, it's my vitamin C. I'm like downing this, telling you I'm going to be like better sooner than later. Okay, hold on. Excuse me.
That's okay.
So because somebody, like, now, just to take a step back, if somebody's written a book, that's a huge accomplishment, like huge kudos, really excited for you. You should totally celebrate. My problem with it is that people have been sucked into spending $5 to $10, $20, $30,000 to do this, thinking that they're going to get clients and get bookings out of it, and they don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to start a business, if you're going to start a speaking business, whether it's an oral business, a speaking business, a coaching business, if you're going to write a book, you have to build the platform first. So what the heck is a platform? There's two levels of it. The first is the message, the market, the positioning, those three things.
Okay.
Message, market, positioning. Okay. So what is your message, and what do you have to say that's a strong point of view, that is more creative, innovative, pushing edge, that is going to capture attention? Because everyone is saying, I'll help you to get healthy. I'll help you to have more energy. I'll help you to have better sex, better love. I'll help you to grow your business. This is all really generic stuff, but what do you have to say that it makes you unique and different? And the thing that really bothers me is that every human being is remarkable, has gone through remarkable things, and has had amazing experience. And yet, for whatever reason, they're writing these books and they're delivering these messages that are very generic, very watered down, that doesn't truly show their brilliance, you know? And when I talk to people and dig a little bit and ask some questions, I start to pull out stuff of them. And they're like, I didn't know that me working as a shoemaker related to business. And I was like, yes, this is how it relates. And this is what makes your point of view different and what will make you stand out. That was a bad example, but you know, I can give an example of what I do, because I obviously know my platform inside out. But if I think about it, when it comes to presentation skills, everybody is a speaker saying, I will help you to be confident, and I will help you to overcome presenting anxiety. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if everybody is saying that, A, how is a meeting planner supposed to choose? Right? And yeah. B, is that all you bring to the table? What's unique about your background, right? So I usually will start off when I have a conversation with somebody, whether it's networking or if I'm doing a conference submittal, because that's relevant to this, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing a conference submittal. I would say being confident is highly overrated to being a great presenter and closing sales. And people are like, what? And then I go on to say something to the effect of, I don't have my pitch in front of me. The stress that you carry, the stress, trauma, and pain and illness that you carry in your body, and we all have 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of those things.
Yeah.
Directly influence your body posture, your voice, your body language, your energy, how you come across. So for example, a normal speaker trainer would say, all right, everybody, sit up tall and be confident. Now that I'm being confident, I'm extremely posed and canned and inauthentic, and I'm like a robot, and my voice is overly in some space and giving this pushing energy because I'm carrying stress in my chest. Right?
Yeah.
So it's actually not about being confident. It's about understanding what you're carrying in your body that's altering your voice and your body language, right? So that would be my grand statement of confidence is overrated in being a great presenter and closing sales or getting more buy-in from your team or whoever I'm pitching.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it really comes down to then, of course, and the second part of the pitch is once I've said, that little thing, it's overrated. The stress in your body affects how you come across. Then I'm able to weave in my background. And this is another side note. You don't just give us your story of how you've overcome 50 million things. Okay. That's a whole other myth that we need to debunk in a second or at some point in this call.
Yes.
But you have to, when you show your credibility, it's got to be within 2-3 lines and very specific to how you deliver the bottom line that they want you to deliver. Okay. So the second half of my pitch would be something like, around combining my degree in relaxation therapy.
Yeah.
With my extensive experience as an award-winning TV host, comical actress, and opera singer.
Yeah.
I am able to help your audience to both release all the stress, pain, and tension out of their body and give them world-class, this is not the right pitch. I should have brought this up to actually give you my exact pitch, but something like that. But, world-class, present storytelling and engagement skills that only the top entertainers in the world have. Because literally I have worked with Broadway performers and directors and Emmy winners and have, and some kind of prestigious TV award, which I don't understand what it is, but it's very heavy. I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it. It's very heavy. No. If we have time, I'll bring it over. It's like big and heavy. It looks like an Emmy.
Yeah.
But it's like, so what I've done is I've explained my background very quickly in one line, and about the performing artist, you're going to be able to get presenting skills of a world-class performer. Mm-hmm. Right. And then, but you're also going to be able to, help release the stress that's holding people back from being their best selves. And then, so that's the message. Okay. That's step 1, because I told you there's 3 parts. Right. Okay. And then I'll get back to the story, the myth number 2. Okay. So the message, and then you need to know the market. Now, everyone says, but I can speak to everybody. Mm-hmm. All right. So first of all,
wait a second, because a lot of people, 2 friends of mine are writing a book right now. They've been pitched to pay, you're gonna fall from your chair, $100,000 to create a book and get published and get bestsellers and all that stuff, so that they can get the big speaking engagement and all that stuff. So we started with the title of the book, right? And we found something that was really cool. And I can't say it now because I don't know, my friends are still working on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. But the biggest thing they were saying, like, oh, no, you can't say that because it's too narrow and you're not going to have a big audience. So, for example, for me, I'll just switch it to me, right? So if I were to write a book, how to be a little happy Jewish girl. They'll be like, well, that doesn't appeal to the African-American market.
Oh, my God, I love that.
Right, but that's
I'm not even Jewish, and I would read that book. It's fantastic.
But they're saying like the title of the book cannot be "How to Be a Little Jewish girl, because Jewish only for the Jews, girl only for the women, little only for the short, the midgets.
Interesting.
So they're saying like you're cutting your entire audience and it's not going to be a big seller and nobody's going to talk about it because it's very, very narrow. But what I'm hearing you say, narrow is fantastic, because how to be a happy blah doesn't touch the pain points of the entire audience. Is that right?
All right, so let's talk about this. So you can have multiple markets, okay? But for the sake of getting media, for the sake of getting speaking engagements, you need to have specific markets, okay? So for example, we had a press release go out for me a few months ago. And if I said it can go out to everybody, I wouldn't have gotten any press from it. But I was able to say specifically, it needs to go to Forbes, it needs to go to Bloomberg, it needs to da-da-da. And then I ended up on ABC, NBC, and a whole bunch of other things because we were really specific with what kind of publications it needed to go out to. Because otherwise, why would Forbes, publish something on how to be a great parent? Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to understand that yes, you can have multiple markets, but there still needs to, and for a book, you may not want to, so let's just use me for presenting skills. I may not want to write a book on presenting skills for financial planners. Mm-hmm. It's probably a little too narrow, maybe not. We could talk about that. But if I did one that was for business, then at least I still have a market. But I have a lot of people who show me their books, and there's not even, it's like for literally everybody. It's for moms and dads and business women. And I was like, holy camole, there's not even a general theme. But let's talk about why we want to be narrow.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say that we talked about my message already. Let's say that I went to go and pitch meeting planners.
Okay.
There's a gazillion opportunities out there to get paid. How much time do I realistically have in a day?
8 hours, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I work, more like 20 million. But hence
you're making up more hours.
I know. Hence my body is like being like, please stay in bed, literally. And I knocked myself out in the shower the other day. So that really made me sleep. Probably should have went to the hospital. Anyways, I'm still stubborn. But let's think about this, okay? So what's easier, me just trying to Google speaking engagements for presentation skills? Mm-hmm. Or is it easier, and I'm going to show you a technique on LinkedIn to find meeting planners in like less than 3 minutes.
Oh, fantastic.
Or is it, and we can do this as an example so you can see what I'm talking about, how much easier it is to find leads. Okay?
Okay.
Or is it easier for me to say, well, I'm going to try financial services. I'm going to focus on that market for a bit. Well, now suddenly my pitch has changed to the problem that is specific to what's happening in financial services. So now here's my new pitch, okay? 14%, and it's 18% to Canada because I've got a lot of Canadian, tribe being Canadian. So 14% of the industry are women, and the reason why it's so low is because women hate the male style of selling.
Yes, that's true.
Right, and then I'm able to say something again like, when you bring me in, women are under constant stress, juggling, multiple things. I'm able to help them release the stress that's in their body, get them into their, presence, teach them world-class storytelling skills to be able to engage through conversation in a way that's non-salesy. Now, that was not the right pitch, but something like that. But again, it's more targeted than the person. So if there's 50 of us applying, or 10 of us doing presentation skills applying for a conference for that slot, the rest are going to be saying, let me help you be confident. And I'm going to be like, no, they don't know how to sell because they're in a male-dominated industry. Let me help them be more personable and release their stress and learn how to storytell as a way to connect with other people. Who's going to win the pitch?
You are.
Right.
Hands-on.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if I wanted to actually source some gigs, do you want me to show you my 3-minute technique right now?
Yes, please. So
all right.
While Cindy is sharing her screen, I want you to, guys, hop into imthatgeek.com/live. We already have a few people in line so that you guys can get the specific answers for your thing. For example, Robert is here and Stuart is here, and Robert already has a pitch that we're gonna run by Cindy after we're done.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So guys,
I love it.
amnetgeeky.com/live. Hop on over.
Ah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. Okay, let's
All
dive
right.
into LinkedIn.
So when I was saying your platform needs to have your message, your market, and then your positioning. So what I just told you was the positioning. Why I positioned it specific to the market. 14% of da-da-da. If it was attorneys, my pitch would be positioned differently. You have great attorneys on staff. They need to bring in, build their book of business, bring in clients to be able to raise up to partner and help the bottom line. Lawyers suck at being personable. I would rate it better than that in the pitch, you know? But again, that's the positioning part. So let's say, again, because I'm looking for gigs, now I'm going to say financial planners.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to be pitching the okay, so this was not, or let's say attorneys, for example, right?
Yeah.
Partner, attorney. Okay.
And guys,
Okay.
notice that this is without the pro account. This is not Sales Navigator. This anybody can do this.
Right, anybody can do this. So, so there we go. So I got partner and attorney. So I got 4,000 results. Now it seems to me that I didn't get the people. So let's get the people and let's get rid of this. There we go. Okay. So partner, attorney. I now have 200,000 leads of people who are partners, because here's the thing. You're not going to go to an associate in a law firm to pitch them. You need to connect with the partners of the company. Now, Jason Webb, I've actually paid lots of money to as a lawyer back in the day. Now, you don't want to, that's way too many, right?
Yep.
So now I'm going to go to locations. Okay, greater New York, because guess what? I live in New York. Or let's say that I love LA and I love the summers. I want to go there and travel there back and forth, and I can click there. But now I click apply. Now I have 21,000. It's still way too much. So then I can start to say, well, I only want first connections, because now I can find, there you go.
Yeah, people who know you. There you go.
Right. So now I have 9 results. So we probably need to find something in between, but we can again do first and second. Ta-da! And now I have 1,000 results. So you just have to play around with it. But that took me, what, 2 minutes? So let's say, right. So first of all, if you're already connected to people and you're able to message them, don't spam them though. We're going to talk about the approach later.
Yes, please.
Well, let's say this Christopher person, I don't know this guy. He's a connection and I've looked through his thing. Let's say I think he's great. Then what I'll go is oh, great. I have one mutual connection, Sam Leibowitz. Well, Sam is a really cool guy. I know him. I think I did a treatment thing at his wellness center in New York. So I'm going to talk to Sam, and I'm going to connect with Sam and say, hey, Sam, would you mind doing an introduction to me to Christopher Hallbrook? And then all of a sudden you're getting a warm lead to somebody who is in a firm. Now, here's the thing, is that you also want to look at people's profiles. So just as a side note, just don't go spamming people and do 100. I would rather you do 10 really good connections a day or a week and make them relevant. So I don't even know if this guy's qualified, because he could be a partner in a firm, right? But he might only have one other person. Well, he might not want to spend, $10,000 to bring me into train for a day. Right. But if I look at him, he's a trial attorney. Here we go. Right. Resulting in historic, almost $1 billion and $250 million. Right.
Yes.
Top 40. This guy is somebody who's a top earner. He's going to want to spend money, right?
Yep.
So look at this. He's being all over the news. This is somebody who's a high achiever that probably spends money on his team. So then I would look up his law firm. So once I feel like he's a good connection for me, then I'll spend a good 15, 20 minutes, half an hour learning about him. And then either Sam will introduce me or I'll connect with him. And I will look at this and say, hey, super excited to, and I would connect with them, and I would connect with him, but I would not pitch him right away. That's spamming people. I freaking hate it. So somebody just emailed me on LinkedIn, by the way, as a side note, saying, hey, great to meet you. I want to be on your TV show. And I'm like, and I responded and I said, great. What did you think of, which episode of my show have you seen? And how does your thing how does your topic fit? And she goes, oh, well, I've never seen your show. How do I find it? And I'm like, you're an idiot. I'm on 190 million screens across the world. It's really not that difficult. Flick on your damn TV. Sorry to get pissy about this, but I get pitched a lot. And I'm like, that turns a person off, okay? And sometimes people think I get too pissy, but I'm telling you the truth. At least you're getting the truth, and you're not getting somebody going, write a book and you're going to make $1 million of speaking suddenly. You're getting what you need to really do. Less is more, people.
And I love what you were saying. I love that, because I always say, you know, connection, not content. And just to tap into what you were saying, I got pitched by a guy who jumped in and goes like, hey, do you want ads? Do you want to learn how to do ads? Do you want ads? Do you want ads? And I don't respond. And every, you know, month or so, he just like sends a message. Finally, he goes like, hey, I figured out how to write the best ad, 300 words. Do you want my copy? And I was like, sure, send the copy. And of course, what he sends is a lead magnet. And I was like, dude, do you want my feedback? And he goes like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, what do you know about me? Do I even run ads? He's like, oh, I want feedback about the copy that I sent you. I'm like, dude, you're missing the point. I don't run ads. This is not applicable to me. You're spamming me. You don't know shit about me. And you didn't get anything because I opted in, saw your ad, and opted out. So your whole system, you're just spending so much time spamming people. And what's going to happen? They're going to block you. You're not becoming a friend. Nobody's going to invite you. They're not going to, you know, they're not going to pay for you because now you're positioned as a spammer. And what you're showing, which I love, is like you don't even go direct. You go to someone to introduce you. Right. Which shows like relationships is where it's at, right?
Right. So, and then when I meet Christopher, then it becomes, hey, Christopher, it's so great to meet you. One of the things that caught me is that you've done a lot of charitable work, and so have I. Yeah. Actually, when I was in grade 9, I led a fundraising campaign for MAD. What made you get into that? Very, very cool. You know, we trade a couple of emails and I say, listen, I noticed that you're an attorney. I have a really cool resource. I don't know if you're looking to got a really cool resource, and give them some kind of a lead magnet saying, you know, hey, are you looking at all to help some of your newer associates be able to connect better? If so, I would love to share something. Okay. Are you up for it? Now, you also have to remember, I'm Canadian born and raised. We hate being sold to. Yes. And this is another thing that pisses me off, is that Canadians buy programs from Americans on how to sell from the stage, and then they don't convert, because you cannot sell a Canadian the same way as you could sell an American.
Thank you.
And that's important, which brings me to whoever you're pitching, you have to understand the industry. So Bakersfield, I've spoken in a million times. I don't know why they used to like me there. I haven't spoken there for a while, but they liked me there for a while. They're very conservative. I am not conservative on stage. But because I did my research, I would tone it down, because you have to meet the audience, and I would tone down my pitch and not terrify them, you know? So anyway, so this is just a really great example. So that was good. But, you know, to give you another example, you know, let's say we were saying financial services, financial, why can't I spell today? That's because I have like sick brain. You know, services, and then I could say event planner, or I might just do financial. See, we don't want a wedding planner, but we've got 11,000, location, Greater New York, apply, Now I've got 1,000. Yeah. Event planner. She's an independent meeting event planner. Prudential. Now this is a person that I want to connect with. Prudential is a big company. She's a meeting planner in my area. I can meet her.
There you go. And you have 2 shared connections.
And we've got 2 shared connections. I might have to go after this one. I don't know either of these people. That's okay. But so I will just go to her direct. But again, I would go to Anna's page. I would look through. I would find something that I can start with, right? So this doesn't tell me a lot about her, except for that she's fluent. So I might keep scrolling. What else do we have in common? Okay, I'm not seeing anything that I can connect with her anyways. So she was in liberal arts. Okay.
Would you go to her posts and profiles and look at what she wrote about lately?
Right, exactly. So I could see what her other,
she didn't write anything, huh? Interesting.
She didn't, but I could look her up on Facebook. I can look her up on Twitter. I can see if she's in love with dogs.
Yep.
Right. So as you can see, it doesn't take a lot of time. If you do 10 a day, this takes an hour, you know, which sounds like a lot, or even 10 a week, and just start conversations that actually leads to something.
which I love, because what would you rather have? A million subscribers or 10 clients?
Right. Well, here's the other thing. The reason why I also say I want you to pick a market, or what we call a vertical, is you don't have to stick to it, but it's for the sake of you getting booked and not spinning your bloody wheels trying to figure out where the hell these gigs are. So if it's financial services, and let's say I just moved to New York, what am I going to do is I'm going to look at all the different associations in the area that have to do with insurance and financial services, and I'm going to start attending. And guess what? I'm the only non-insurance person there. So first of all, I'm connecting with the people running the meetings. At that level, they might only pay me $250, but they get to know me, and then they want to be able to hire me to come and do trainings at a much higher rate, or consulting, or go speak at their national conferences at the $5,000, $10,000 level, right?
Yep.
Or, or I'm meeting other people who are financial planners who can hire me for coaching because they need to be more personable, learn how to storytell and present themselves in a conversation. So it's not these tactics I'm giving you can get you instant clients.
Yep.
Whenever, it's really interesting. When I went for my green card a year and a half ago, it was in the middle of the changeover between Obama and Trump. And I'm not making anything political about this. I'm just saying there's a changeover. And because of the changeover, it was a shit show. Yeah. My immigration got delayed by 6 months. Again, I'm not making an opinion either way. But in the meantime, my work visa had expired. My lease had expired. I literally had nowhere to live. Everywhere was because I was like a nomad, and I can't leave the country because I'm being vetted across the world through Interpol and everything to make sure I'm not a spy and going to kill anybody. So they were also testing me for everything possible, including malaria. And that conversation was, you realize I'm Canadian and have already been living in your country on a work visa for 8 years. But anyways, so what was interesting, because this is a relevant story, is that I was homeless. I literally packed up my car, called all my friends across the country and said, I don't know how long it's going to be. Can I crash at your place? And I literally drove from city to city and stayed with friends for 2 weeks at a time so that I wasn't overstaying my welcome. I was pissing around. I must have lived in 20 different states over a year of my life. It was fun at first, and then I got tiresome. But can I tell you how much money I made? Because I'm I got to generate leads in the middle of all this.
Right.
So I literally, every time I go to a city, I would just find a restaurant back room, invite people for a gig, or go to a local association, pick up some clients.
And you're bringing up a fantastic point, because you knew exactly what you can do for these people, right?
Yeah.
So you knew what you can do. And so
right.
you're like, okay, let me go find the people with the problem that I can solve. And then you went there and you were like, hey, you have all these problems. Let me do it for you.
Right. And that's another reason why you have to have a strong point of view.
Yes.
There are people that think I am full of shit, and I'm okay with that. They are not my client.
Yep.
So when you are willing to stand in your power about what you believe, I believe very strongly that the majority of speaking training is robot training. It's very stand here, pose here, put a fake smile on, point this way because NLP tells me to. I think that's inauthentic. I know that there's a lot of people that get offended when I say that. Great, you're not my client. We haven't wasted each other's time yet. And I don't have to be right. I only need to be right for my ideal client.
Yes. And I love that, because that's kind of pulling the people that resonate with your message, and you're not wasting time trying to convince someone that, your point of view is actually better for them.
Right, exactly. And that's why you can generate clients and bookings way faster, because they're going to be able to get in alignment with the right people right away.
Yeah, and I think you answered Terrence, right? Terrence's question.
Yes, he's so lovely.
Yeah. So he was asking, what are some tips to establish rapport quickly? And you just showed that on LinkedIn. And he said, is it essential to build a platform of lower paying events before seeking out higher paying bookings? Or are there strategies for getting to the high paying booking with the right message and the right audience?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So if you are already somebody who is on television, you could be the crappiest speaker with no platform and get booked solid at 20, 30, 50 grand because you're Angelina Jolie. Okay. She might get 100 grand. Who knows? So if you already have an established reputation, you could be a shit speaker and get booked. That's just the truth. If you have a strong platform that stands out and you really have that great platform, then you look like a professional, because I can tell you, being in the industry for 20 years as a speaker trainer, as a high paid speaker, and now owning a booking agency, the biggest complaints I get from meeting planners in my follow-ups is that they'll get 50 applications and only one of those applications has everything that they need in it and is pitched correctly. So if you yourself are able to have a strong platform and have all your chisel together, that alone is going to make you look more professional and position you for higher pay.
So let's talk about that for a second. What needs to be on your platform in order
so that
for
was
you
the
to
second level I was going to get to, but let me finish answering Terrence's
Yeah.
question. So in terms of the super high pay, like $5,000 or more, a meeting planner might look at Terrence and say, well, you've got a book, which looks awesome. You have a strong platform, but I don't see any referrals to any other gigs that you've done. You know, she still might hire him at $5,000 because it was a referral.
There you go.
You know,
Relationships.
it's possible, right? So it's possible, but you got to do your due diligence and you got to do the work just like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So you could have a ton of talent, but you can take a wonderful dancer, but she's not, or he's not going to make it to the National Ballet of Canada or the City Ballet in New York just by having talent and not having the credentials.
Gotcha.
Right. So going back to the second question,
Yes.
which goes back to the first question. So when I said speakers don't have their platform together, I said there's two levels. The first is knowing what their message, their positioning, and their markets are, or message, then what your markets are, and then the positioning for each of those markets. And you could choose 2 or 3 to start if you really have that much time. If you do, bless you, take some of my workload, please. The second level is that once you have that platform built, then you need to actually have the speaking collateral. So you need to have your 300-word bio, your 100-word bio. I have a whole list, actually. I should post the link in here. It's on my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have your 100-word introduction, which is different than your 100-word bio. Okay. It's a little friendlier. It's a little more fun. You want to have some testimonials, and they need to be written in a certain way, in a certain length. You need to have, you know, even if you don't have a speaker reel, because those are hard to get, especially in the beginning, it's like impossible. You need multiple reels or multiple video. Even just get a few minutes of you, good video of you speaking. You know, they need to be able to see you speak, which is a whole other rabbit hole for me, because I see people with these speaking reels. They spent $3,000 to $5,000. They apply for an agency and they look really good, but I'm like, can I see you speak? And they said, but I gave you my reel. I said, and they were like, I just spent $3,000. I said, I realize that, but you're talking into a camera telling me what you do. I need to see you speak.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here's some clips. Well, you're behind a podium. How do I know that you know how to work stage and you understand body language and stagecraft and how to interact with the craft? You're hidden behind a podium. And here's the thing is that, or they have stage stuff on there, but literally a 15-second thing saying, you can create your own life. You are amazing. Well, a million speakers can say that. I want to hear something different.
Yes.
So it's really important to put together that collateral. It's a bitch and a half to put together. I teach a course called Lucrative Bookings Intensive. I'm going to put this in the chat box, the link to this, to my top 10, what you need for your speaking collateral. Oh, that was privately. How do I make that not privately?
That's okay. I will share it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'll let you do it.
Yes.
You know, so my question is that, again, this comes to you having a strong point of view and showing that in a video. And, you know, have it like the meeting planner needs to be able to hear what you have to say. They want to go, whoa, I never thought of it that way. Who is this person? So your video wants to reflect your knowledge base and your expertise and not look like some motivational speaker that has some shtick around being happy, you know, not that there's nothing wrong with being happy. I'm just a little moody today because I've been sick in bed for a week.
So I love everything that we're going, and everybody here says that they're getting tons of value. I want to finish like the three things that we said we're going to do, and then kind of dive into the comments. So you said there are two questions that will help you stand out with your message. so that it's attractive to clients and to decision makers? What are these two questions?
Yes. So this is great because this comes down to the messaging and the strong point of view that I've been literally yelling at you all about
For the past 40 minutes.
for the last 40 minutes. So the first question that you want to think about when thinking about what that strong point of view is what is the elephant in the room? Okay. What is that thing that causes people shame? Because if you are willing to talk about the thing that causes people shame, then people feel understood. Do you want me to give you an example?
Yes, please.
All right. So whenever I do my webinar, and I haven't done this webinar in a few years, but in the past I used to do a webinar on how to speech writing and how to rock the stage and sell from the stage.
Okay.
Here's the biggest thing that causes people shame. They spent $10,000 to learn how to sell from the stage, and they're either broke or they've made very little, or they speak a lot. They haven't invested any money to learn how to sell from the stage, but they're speaking all the time for free as a way to generate clients. People tell them they're inspiring and amazing, but nobody buys. And they feel ashamed that they are professional speakers and either are not able to make money from their message, and or they've spent money to learn how to do it and they can't do it. But nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to say, I studied with X person and I've lost all this money, or everybody says I'm great and I'm broke. Nobody wants to say that. So I just say it off the top of the thing and saying, hey, do you consider yourself passionate and heart-based about what you do? Yes. Well, do you feel, when you go to do your offer, do you feel as a heart-based person that you want to come across with a sales script? They're like, no. And I said, this is why you're not converting. It's because you're learning canned sales scripts that take you out of your personality, out of your heart, get you into your head, and just connects you to the audience. And you look like this person that the audience fell in love with, that's now become this crazy monster that's selling them like a machine because they're trying to deliver a script. And I said, if this is you, you're not alone and it's not your fault. It's because you're heart-based and it's because you're not getting to be who you are. And the other problem is that you're delivering so much content that's great, but you're not actually showing people the gap between where they are and where they need to go. You're not giving them insight. And that's the problem. So when I start to explain, when I take away their shame and make it realizing that it's not their fault and explain that they're, whatever I go through that webinar, then they go, oh my God, you're right. I've been learning all these sales tactics, but I don't like delivering sales tactics. Most people don't like selling.
Yep.
Yeah,
or be sold, right? Nobody likes to be sold. Everybody likes to buy, right? Yeah.
Right. Can I tell you that at my corporate gigs, they pay me 10, 15 grand. I don't sell from the stage. I'm getting paid to be there. Exactly. I always pull clients from there because I've given them insight and I've given them value. And because it's being shaped in a certain way. So going back to the question number one to you is, what is the thing that's causing them shame? And if you can relieve them of that shame, they're going to feel bonded to you and feel like they're connected to you.
And you know what? To tap onto that, Brené Brown rose to fame only because of that topic, shame and
vulnerability.
Guilt. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, shame and guilt.
Right. Exactly. All right, I gotta close
so that's
my
question number one, and I just kind of want to recognize the people who are joining us. Hi, Brian. Hey, Arthur. Robert is here. Jennifer is here. Scott is saying this is great information for a lot of people. We'd love for you guys, if you have any comment, question, anything that you want to add or you want to ask about what question you should ask, what's the topic that you want to tap into, what industry. This is the time, because after that, to get to Cindy, we're going to talk about how much that would be. So,
well, first of all, I want to acknowledge Brian Eisenberg, who's on the line, who introduced us. He's a remarkable human being and on our roster at Minerva. And he's an amazing, amazing, brilliant person. Hello, Brian, and thank you for introducing us.
Yes, it's been a beautiful friendship. It's really fantastic.
Oh, I should.
Oh, there you go. Here's the voice, singing voice.
Here's the voice. This is what I sound like when I'm sick, though. Okay, so that was question number one. If you could really help people to go deeper with that and think about that, that'll help. Number two is I want you to think about what everybody else is doing around your topic and think about, how is my point of view different? And, or what are they saying that I'm like, yeah, they're kind of missing the point. And again, it's not about making other people wrong, but it's about having that different point of view. So it's like, what are other people saying? Like, other people are saying in my industry, you need to stand here, pose here, and use NLP, yes or yes, on the stage in order to get buy-in. And while that absolutely works for some people, it doesn't work for my ideal clientele, and I think it's bullshit. That's not how you build rapport, right? But I will call that out, and I will have a strong point of view, and people are either going to like it or not. So it's really important to understand, like, what is it that other people are doing in your industry, and what do you agree with them? What do you not agree with them? What insight do you have that's unique and different, and that strong point of view? And like that first question I was saying is, what's the elephant in the room? If you could take away their shame, they're going to love you and bond with you forever.
And you know, everything that you're saying, which I love, is so human. You know,
Right.
technology came out and it kind of like messed up like the way that people think to connect with each other. We do this offline. There's no difference. You can do exactly the same thing online, on stage, in front of people. We're just people that want to connect and belong. And when you do that, and when you acknowledge people and you connect with them, exactly like you said, remove the shame, you know, call things out, shine the light on it, be human, then you're more attractive, right? In all areas of your life.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. So then let's talk about, get some insight, what kind of a speaker you are, what is sellable to meeting planners, and what types of gigs you should be looking for.
Yeah, so one of the things that a lot of speakers don't think about is that you need to know what your speaking purpose is, because that's going to make a direction for you. So when we talk about your speaking purpose, is people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, are you speaking to be a high paid speaker? Like, do you want to be paid as a speaker? Or are you speaking as a way to sell your services and products? And a lot of them goes, oh, I would love to do both. And it's possible to. I mean, I will occasionally do unpaid stuff. Like I have a gig coming up that she's like, we don't pay anybody. And I'm like, well, the fee's $15,000. I said, but tell me more about your gig. I'm not going to turn it down quite yet. And it turned out that it was all, you know, high level, like 6-figure and above earners, entrepreneurs who want to be, and a lot of them probably wanted to be speakers. And I'm like, well, this is easy. So I said, help me promote my current event. And if you can bring in at least $10,000 worth of income to me, even before in the next month, then I will sign a contract for you. Plus I get to sell at your event. And so she brought in way more than 10,000. She didn't have to do the selling. I just had her do connections. So I've already made my 15, not me, my company's already made the 15 grand. And then when I get there, 50, 100,000, right?
Yeah.
So she's got 200 people in the room that are my ideal clientele. So you have to know what kind of speaker you are. So I'm a paid speaker, but I will do unpaid speaking if I know that it's an audience that I can serve. Yeah. So you need to be clear on that. But if you say, well, I only want to be a paid speaker, then you need to know where the money is. The personal development entrepreneurial world is highly, highly, highly oversaturated. There's very little money in it. And a lot of it now is pay to play, which means that you pay, you know, $1,000 to $5,000, I've even seen $8,000 to stand on stage and deliver. And then you can do a sales pitch and hopefully convert. Yeah. But here's what I'm going to tell you is that A, you got to make sure that you are damn good at selling. B, you got to make sure that the person putting on that event could absolutely get in butts in the seat, and then it's the ideal clientele for you. Otherwise, you're going to lose that $3,000, for example. But here's the other problem is that there's a lot of event fatigue happening. People are tired. People are tired of being pitched. People are tired of these pitch fests. They're tired of going to all these conferences where all these speakers are lovely and good, but they're not great because they haven't done the training. And goes back to what we started at the top of this, where they're too generic because no one has gone deep enough into their soul to figure out what their soul message is, but what their expertise is on a deeper level, what that strong point of view is. So they're saying the same stuff as everybody else. So you really want to think about that. If you're going to go in that direction, it's fine. Just make sure that you work with somebody to get very deep in who you are and what you offer, so you could be the brilliance that you are. You know, and for me, it's the most painful thing to see all these generic speakers. And I look at them and I'm like, every human is valuable and brilliant. And why the freak aren't we taking care of these people? and getting them to their brilliance. And instead, they're flailing around making practically no money in the speaking world.
And this all started kind of like from the internet marketing. At the beginning, internet marketing was email list and all that stuff, right? And then everybody will become a millionaire if you just have a lead magnet and a funnel. And now we've been kind of like, okay, we've matured. The internet matured. We all know a webinar is a sales pitch. We all know free events are not really free. We've been through that before. And add to that exactly what you were saying about the changing in politics and economies, where we don't have trust. We all feel like we're being sold online all the time, and there's no emotional connection, right? Like what I call the human element is missing. And so what you're saying is like, be that friend, be that person who goes deep, who actually helps, who actually provides value.
Right.
And you will stand out because nobody else is doing that.
Well, and I just want people to be the best they can be. And the sadness for me is that I think there's a lot of well-meaning coaches that haven't done their own work, who are charging crazy amounts of money, who are not helping their people to go to their depths because they haven't done their depths. It's become the ongoing joke that business coaches teach other people how to be business coaches.
Yes. So we have so much to cover, and we're running out of time, and an hour flies back like that.
I know. I could talk about this for years.
So I wanna acknowledge the people here. Robert, do you have, just nod if you do. Stuart, do you want to jump in? Brian, do you jump in? Do you have something to add? Robert, just say yes, and I'll bring you in. Yes. Okay. So Robert, let's jump into you, and like that, and unmute you. So there we go. Ta-da! Hi, nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hello.
So, nice question for Cindy.
A question. The past year, beginning last January, I put all the energy I had available to me into reaching out to influencers, people that had Facebook Live shows that to me seemed like-minded and heart-centered, and were actively helping others. I connected with so many, I made a lot of friends. Now, the reason I did this is because I discovered that it was a very effective way to manage my depression, because uplifting others has a side effect of also uplifting me. At first, I let it lift me too high, and then I would crash every few weeks. And I realized, okay, no, return to being balanced. And so at the end of a year, I have some solid friendships with people that are, well, a lot of salespeople, and in the automotive industry for some reason. But that's
very
just
cool. So you have your vertical, and you'd be looking for VPs of sales, but you already have those connections. Keep going.
Yeah. And I also was gifted some broadcast training with an empowerment platform. Yes, you can inspire to achieve, and I do a few broadcasts every week on their global network, which is just beginning. The first big show is February 2nd and 3rd in London, and I'm working on getting there. I have a 5-minute time slot in front of potentially 1,200 people, which will be interesting. I know a lot of the people there. I know a lot of the speakers because of Facebook Lives, because of what my mentor, Bradley Chapman, did by connecting so many people on Facebook Live. And that's how I came across him. I connected with him really fast, and he's very high power. He wears himself out, but he can overwhelm me with optimism and positivity. And I'm an optimist. I was known as Mr. Positive at work just because I understood that any words that I speak, if I'm using negative words instead of positive words to say the same thing, it's going to impact me depression-wise.
Right. So Robert, how can I help you? Like, what's your question so we could dig in? Because we only
I need money. I never asked for money. I didn't even have a business at the start.
Yeah.
But I think that I could help others do what I'm doing if they're interested. And specifically, those that are depressed, that want to move forward, that might have a business, that never thought about reaching out so actively. Because I spent, sometimes I spend all day doing it, going from one live stream to the next, or 2 or 3 at the same time. But it's settled down a bit.
So I know exactly where you're going. Perfect. So what I love about this is that, first of all, is that depression is a huge problem in North America. And I know I've been touched by it in my past, and I don't know anyone who hasn't. And I love this idea that you could give these people hope and teach them, so I would put together like a system, and I'm not saying try to do online marketing, don't do that. Because but people need to connect. And I think I think social media in some ways have made things worse. So I would put together like something that's simple, that's like a little coaching thing that somebody could hire you to coach, and just put the message out of, your story of like, I was, and it's got to be succinct. Okay. So this is the thing I want you to work on. Right now, you're just free forming, which is cool, and free form for a bit, but make it succinct around, I was struggling with depression, but I learned how to connect with influencers across the world, and it brought life back into me. And now I'm able to have a business. Let me help you do the same. And then you can do small group things, and it could be a small little membership where you teach people stuff every month. Like, we don't have time for me to build out a whole plan for you. And that would it be, and I'm not a business coach in that sense anyways, but does that give you the direction of where to go?
It does. I had thought about 2 small courses, online courses that I would just give away to people. That would.
But you need money.
Yeah, I do need money. That's
right.
unfortunately money.
Paid. No, not unfortunately. I think that we need to change. This is a whole other conversation, Ifat, that we could be having. But money is a beautiful thing, because with money, you can do good for other people. Look at all the money that I've raised. I've raised hundreds of thousands for charity, but I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have money sustaining me. I wouldn't have been able to have that freedom to be able to hire people on my team to help me raise that money, right? Money is a beautiful thing when used correctly. So I know that we're at the end, so I want to leave you with this, but I think it's beautiful. I'm so proud of you for creating this. You're going to impact other lives. Even if you charge people $20 for it, or pay what you can, I want you to get paid and start to know that it's okay to get paid, and that you deserve to be paid for your experience. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love this. Thank you so much. Brian, do you want to jump in?
Hey.
Just say nod if yes. Yes.
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, here you are.
Hey, we've got you driving. Oh, I shouldn't get so excited.
There we go. We're going to get into Brian in a second. Hold on a second, Brian. I'm going to where are you? I'm going to pin you. And here you are. Hi.
Hey.
Hey. No, I'm no longer driving. Otherwise, I would.
Oh, that's true. Then I'd have to kick your butt on that.
Yeah. No, I just parked in my driveway. I finished my meeting, jumped on, listening to you on Facebook Live, jumped on here. So, yeah, we were all good. But you said something earlier, and I think it's such a critical point for speakers. There are 2 ways to look at the world, right? We can either be in the business of being of service to people from the stage, or we're serving ourselves. And you got to choose which one you want to do. It's not like you said, you can do both. But I found that when you're of service to others, somehow the money does take care of itself.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. That's beautiful. Share. And I'm loving that color on you, by the way.
Thank you. Well, we got a fall day here in Austin. Temperature dropped below 60. But I'm off to New York on Saturday, so maybe we can meet up.
I will be better by then. Text me.
You better be better by then.
Oh, for freak's sakes, I'm like a plague right now.
So the big question is, are you getting in your green juices?
Oh my gosh, I've been drinking seagrass. What are those sea vegetables? I've been drinking fresh ginger with turmeric and honey and lemon. I made organic chicken soup, 2 potfuls worth. I've been doing oil of oregano. You name it.
But what was it? Jewish chicken soup, right? You thought it's a whole different thing.
Funny. My business partner is half Jew, and she's like, "You got to do the Jewish penicillin," and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" She's like, "Chicken soup." I said, "Well, I'm doing that. I'm fine." That's awesome.
So thank you.
But yes, maybe we'll get to New York, and I just finished recording a Taco Talk Thursday on Facebook Live just a few moments ago. But maybe we can get together and we can record something as well.
Yes, and I won't be as plagued.
You did wonderful, plagued and all.
Oh well, thank you, darling.
So,
okay, you fat. Take it back to you, woman.
And we should connect in Austin again. That'd be fun.
She's talking and she has herself on mute. That's so funny.
There we go. Here I am. There you go. So I said, yes,
Yes.
Brian, we should meet in Austin again.
I love it.
So thanks so much. And thanks for joining from the road. And oh, Scott just disappeared. Stuart, do you have a question? You do? Just nod? Yes. Okay. Let me put you.
Oh, so we're allowed to go over?
Just a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, what am I doing? I'm going to go sleep after this or take a bath and just not knock myself out again.
It'll be fine. So here's Stuart. Hey, Stuart.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
You know, I have a question for Cindy, and hopefully it's relatively specific. I am changing topics professionally, and I apologize for the rough attire. And
Okay, I've been coughing in your face all for the last hour. We're good.
But I'm moving into a cybersecurity realm because I believe
Great topic.
that is not being addressed.
Great topic. That's very sellable.
There is a number of verticals there. I may choose the one that I have chosen at the moment is the one I know the most about, which is political cybersecurity, where I have a defined audience. All I have to do is look at 435 seats or a state or whatever and try to get some time with those people by way of working with a podcast, doing an interview based, perhaps video interview based podcast, and then moving the topic slowly to the security realm. Do you see that as an effective way of creating relationships?
I think that inviting people who are experts onto a podcast, who are also people that might be able to hire you, is brilliant. I love it. I mean, it's all about building relationships. We just can't do anything that's salesy anymore. Cold calling is from like 1900s, you know. Well, they didn't have phones back then, or they were just coming up. But you know what I mean.
Oh, my first cell phone weighed 6 pounds and was on my shoulders.
Oh my gosh, I still remember those. They were like the size of a dinosaur. They were hilarious. So my dad's, I remember.
My other question is,
yeah, so that's a great one.
LinkedIn is set up to work with corps of all sizes and people of all sizes, different businesses.
Yeah.
I have one specific realm, and it's certainly big enough to support a business. Do you see that as a beginning and then moving out towards the more corporate realm? I don't see too many people approaching it from a speaking or educational point of view.
Yeah, I think that's a really good topic. I think it's really sellable. I would be interested to see what Brian, because Brian is the bomb on stage. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Brian's, but he does 1 million conferences a year. But I think that that's a really hot topic, especially what's going on today. But I also think that there's not a ton of speakers. It's not like leadership speakers are a dime a dozen. Brian, did you want to weigh in on that as well? Yeah, we just need to unmute him.
So yeah, no, there's no question. You know, there are cybersecurity conferences, so people within their own industry, but there's definitely crossover into more, more markets. So if you can find a way to bring cybersecurity to the average Cindy of the world, it's definitely a very important topic. You know, our data, protecting your data, protecting your identity, protect all these things. So it's just a question of bringing it to their level. And I think there's definitely a marketplace for that. Well,
Cindy's size market was what I considered the top of my corporate market, because the Prudentials of the world, major firms doing the same thing. But Cindy's may not have been approached by someone who wants to say, if you have a meeting or if you have a conference, I have something to say that is backed up by historical data and has validity behind it that could be useful.
Very cool.
So that's my pitch. That's my elevator pitch.
Yeah. So I would just target it to whoever you're working for.
Okay.
You know, and I would put the problem in because I think the problems are obvious to us, but for whatever group you're for whatever group you're targeting, you want to position it for what that group's specific issues are that threatens their cybersecurity.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I see people on Facebook when they're working and I'm like, really? Like, isn't there like, I don't know. I think about that. That's just a no-no. And I think that there's breaches in there and I think it's dangerous, but that's just a gut feeling. I could be wrong about that.
Well, I could go on for about a half an hour about Facebook, but we won't.
I know.
Anyway, Efat and I have known each other a long time. She knows always a cowboy hat. You guys got the 7-Eleven market grabbing a soda, and that's why I looked as weird as I did.
You don't look weird. You look good.
So thank you very much for your time, and I did
My pleasure.
learn a lot. And that very last little tip, make sure you throw the problem in first, because I've always known for a lot of years, find the pain,
right,
and put your thumb on it.
Yeah, and I don't even know that I love the word problem, but more about the insight of what they want, of why it's not working. But yeah,
right, okay, better words.
Yeah, it's better worded, right? It's about the insight of why it's not working. Don't just throw them the problem. Why is it not working? So the problem is 14% women only in financial services. So what? Why is it not working? You got to give them the insight.
Very good. Thank you very much. I'll send it back to you.
No, you're good. I'm getting cold. Sorry.
So last question before we end for today, Cindy. This was amazing.
Good.
We got Scott with us, so I'm gonna unmute Scott.
Okay, cool.
Hey guys.
There we go. Hi.
Awesome.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for letting me join in. It's been
Absolutely.
great to hear you guys and listen to what you guys have to say so far. My inquiry is, well, first of all, you guys have a list of 10 items to work on, so I'll be looking at that list and reviewing it and seeing what I can do. But specifically, if I have a target audience, say students, youth students between, gosh, I don't know, middle school to high school, are there more specific, like, because you guys were talking about specifics earlier, like how specific should I be, or should I just make it broad to those students for when I'm sitting, like, I don't know if it's you would call it a pitch, but
yeah, I don't even like, we need to come up with a different word than pitch because that feels slimy, but for the sake of, we understand that.
Yeah.
For the relationship connection.
Yeah, relationship connection between me and, like, say, the event coordinators or the principals or whomever I need to speak to actually secure and procure the engagements.
Right.
Yeah, the events. So maybe I should give you maybe some backstory as to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, because are you asking me how to find them? Are you asking me how to niche them? Like,
well, I mean, I used to work for the school district here in Georgetown, Texas.
Cool.
So I know a lot of people. So, like, I can walk into almost any of the high schools here or junior highs and say, hey, I used to work for you guys. Who do I need to talk to? So I'm not really, for who to talk to, I could figure that out really easy.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just trying to ask, what do you feel is the scope? How specific should my, I guess, topic be? Like, what I want to do is I want to bring to students the ability to work through kind of like anything. I want to strengthen their ability to get through school or to figure out what they want to do with their lives. I want to kind of give that extra nudge. And what I used to do when I worked for the school district back in San Juan at Sacramento was through the after school program, I taught beginner kendo and iaido. And through that, I strengthened them mentally, physically.
Love it.
It's a workout, martial arts. So I'm not sure if it should be, again, through that, where I say, hey, you should find something that helps keep you healthy, because that will get you to the point of being able to have a more, elastic mind, So I guess.
Well, it sounds to me like you need to have your 3 talk titles and descriptions.
Okay.
And you need to make sure there's a good underlying belly that's a connection. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for example, I have 2 different platforms. I have one because I've lived with chronic illness my whole life, invisible illness, and nobody really talks about it. And there's almost 50 million and 50% of Americans actually live with invisible illness, but nobody talks about it. So I would obviously not mix up my topics with speaking training. So if I'm doing presentation skills training, I'm going to have 1 talk on storytelling, 1 talk on body language and voice, and then 1 talk on using the arts to open creativity to have better solutions and build rapport. But they all have to do with creativity and presentation. So if what I love about your background in the martial arts is that it makes your talks more interactive, and it gives you a bit of an edge, and it makes you stand out a bit. But there might be like your whole platform. Now, again, I haven't done like a 2-hour deep dive with you, but there might be something in the underbelly that's the underlying. Mine underlying is presentation and from an entertainment standpoint. But yours might be that they all have really cool Aikido things that are built in. So maybe one is about memory and focus, one talk. One is about resiliency and overcoming adversity, but they're all coming from the strength of the Zen master. I'm just making this up.
No, I got you.
You see where I'm going? Yeah, I can see you're very fast, or high D, you're high I behavioral style. So does that make sense of what I'm asking for?
Yeah. Kind of just like you, especially if it's multiple talks and engagements that I can, secure over the course of 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Break it into pieces, and then you present that saying, okay, this is what you're going to be doing over the next 2 days or 3 days. And then it kind of.
Well, or they have a choice of 3 different talks and they hire you for just one.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they love you, and then they hire you back, or they hire you for that same talk, but now it's a 1-day workshop.
If you don't mind me asking another probably like side of it. So I've started kind of a side business where I create maps for people, commissioned maps for Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of just like a hobby side gig.
Cool.
It earns hundreds of dollars per map. So it's really kind of nice. Yeah. The map I'm working on today is about $300. Yeah. It's really nice, but it takes like, on average about 40 working hours to make. However, so I want to get out of doing the commissions all the time and teaching people how to do it themselves. And so what I procured it's a local D&D shop in Austin.
Yeah.
Who's brought me on is, we want you to be the person teaching how to make maps portion of our program. And I'm like, sign me up, let me know when you need me. So what I want to do is I want to have like this basic kind of portion where there's a free portion of the program, that the software that I use, online software. So that'd probably be like first day, like, look, I'm just going to show you the basics. And then the second day, if you decide to purchase the program, you will learn the pro version. And then like the third day, I want to teach my business model.
Right.
Because that's where it kind of gets into the nitty gritty of like why I save every like 10 minutes, or, why I have these, sorry about that. Why I have these kind of trade secrets and what they do for me, kind of giving away knowledge. So To whom I would be, I guess, selling to, we have gamers who direct it. So they call them DMs, Dungeon Masters, who create maps for their clients.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's people who will probably be just artisans who want to create maps to sell.
So then you have 2 different talks in there. That platform might only have 2 talks. Okay. One for the Dungeon Masters and one for the artists, the ones who are creating these, who want to get paid for it. Okay. And then what you do is you get a tour set up, and you get a whole bunch of them booked in, where you do all these different stores, and then you drive them all into the 3-day course or whatever that 3 steps was.
Okay.
But you got to be strategic about it, because you don't want to have to offer something and only have 2 clients in there. So you want to make sure that you've got make it a tour. Give yourself 4 to 6 months to really book in 20, 30 things within Austin, be willing to drive up to Dallas, wherever. I don't know what I don't know the geography in Texas.
Oh, it's pretty vast. There's
huge.
several comic shops.
I got stopped in Texas by the police.
Oh, ouch.
When I was driving in. They demanded to see my paperwork. And I said, I'm
Show me your
Canadian.
papers, right?
I had to show my paperwork. And I said, it's fine. I had a valid work visa, so it was fine at the time. But I was
Nice.
like, you realize that even if I didn't, I'm Canadian. We're allowed to visit you people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very weird. They kind of scared me. They had guns. It's okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much everything
That's
I wanted
awesome.
to ask. So I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
So
Awesome.
thank you so much, Scott. It's so awesome to see you kind of like diving into the
Yeah.
live area, which is
Yeah, thank you.
fantastic. I love it. Love it, love it. So, Cindy, thank you
Yes.
so much for staying overtime and
No problem.
driving value. This has been fantastic from the comments, from the engagement side, from everything. You, my lady, needs to go to bed and warm up with
But
some Jewish
we didn't
soup.
give them my free gift, remember?
I did not talk about your free gift. How shame on me. Okay, guys, right to
I
the
actually
right.
rewrote this gift for this call. I rewrote it and upgraded it just for this call.
So, which means you all need to go get it. To the right of this video, on this page, thatgeek.com, what you guys have free for you is the ultimate guide to land high speaking engagement gigs. So all of you here who
Yeah,
are watching
there's like
and
five
we're
steps.
asking for Cindy's 10 topics and all that stuff, you want to go get that guide. Right to the
There you
right of
go.
the video, right on this link, 2 clicks, and it's all yours. And it's fantastic. So, do you want to tell us a little bit what's in the guide and then why they need to get it? And then we'll
That's a
let you
very
sleep.
good question. So there's a little bit in there that I've covered already, but there's other stuff too. So the guide is going to help you with a lot of different resources in terms of what the actual steps are. Step 1, do this. Step 2, list. So by the end, you actually have all the steps. And then by being on our list, we are not crazy people. We do not email you every day, but you might get an email once a week, once every 2 weeks. And I am not a person that does heavy selling. So you're going to get like, here's the top 10 of here, here's this, here's that. So there you go. Lots of great value, lots of tips, lots of stuff. Not just presenting stuff, by the way. Getting bookings. I'm really starting to fade now. Not just about getting bookings, but my passion being a stage actor is teaching presentation skills at an advanced level. So you're going to get resources on that. We have an event coming up in New York City. We're going to be giving away some free tickets. So, it's good to be on the list.
So, the first thing you guys need to do right now, you got so much value in the last hour and a half. If you want to get
Thank
even
you.
more, that's going to be to the right of the video, the ultimate guide. You can download it right now. Cindy, there's a comment from Kathy Mill, who said it was very nice to meet you in Barrie, Canada at Barb's business meeting.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, she says, I have been progressing in business slowly through life, though life is happening. Thank you for all the online help.
Ah, what a sweetheart.
So you're reaching people all over the world, which
Yay!
is fantastic. Yay! Okay, guys. So thank you so very much. I know you've been you under the weather, and you still showed up like a
Yes.
professional, like a troop. I love you for that. Thank you so
A little
much.
edgier than normal.
And tons of value. And then we're going to repurpose it, guys. If you want to follow Cindy, because she's going to start doing this stuff as well.
Yeah.
Then right below this video on thatgeek.com are all her social profiles. You can follow her everywhere, chat with her, comment, talk, interact, share, and that's it. So thank you again for showing up. You've been fantastic. I love you for that. And go get
Thank
better.
you, Ethot, for having me, and Brian for connecting us, and all of you for just all your graciousness and your questions and being here.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you in another show of thatgeek.com 2 weeks from now. We'll see you then.